This is Chapter 9, the Vendor Center. In this chapter, you will learn navigating the Expenses Center, managing vendors in QuickBooks Online, expenses versus billing, recording non-recurring and recurring expenses, recording bills in QuickBooks Online, paying bills, and vendor and expense reports. So we'll be working in our luxury lodging company file. Now, the Expense Center has changed since the book. It's been updated online. If you go to All Apps and hover over Expenses and Bills, here you have your overview. And from here you have the option of a bunch of different actions. You can upload multiple bills at one time. You can create a bill. You can schedule an online payment. You can pay bills, and you can record expenses. And also you can add your vendors. So remember that your vendors are the people who provide products or services to your company. Hold on. So before we get started with this chapter, we have to first add a few accounts to our chart of accounts that we're going to need. Sorry. So if you go to your accounting drop down and click on chart of accounts, so remember these are all the accounts that we created in, I believe, chapter 2 or 3. And we're going to create a new account. And I'm on page 9-4. The account name is going to be Expenses. Oops, no, that's not right. The account name is Dry Cleaning Services. I thought that seemed odd. Your account type is going to be Expenses. And your detail type is Other Business Expenses, with a description of dry cleaning services. And to the right of our Save button, we're going to hit Save and New. And our next account is going to be Pool Services. Account type is Expenses, detail type Other Business Expenses as well, and description Pool Services. And we can hit Save. And that will bring us back to our chart of accounts. In our next section, Managing Vendors in QuickBooks Online, it's a good idea to add your vendors in QuickBooks before you start recording expenses and bills. Otherwise, you will have to do this at the same time you are entering expenses or paying bills, and it can be overwhelming at first. Similar to customers, we can import vendors into QuickBooks or we can enter them manually. We're going to enter the vendor Quick Clean, and they provide dry cleaning services to guests of luxury lodging. So to add a new vendor, we're going to go to All Apps. Oops. And under the Expenses and Bills heading, select Vendors. So here you have the option to import vendors, or you can add them manually. So we're just going to enter them manually. So we're going to click the Add Vendor button. And we're going to complete the fields as listed. So the company name is going to be Quick Clean Dry Cleaners. And yes, Quick is spelled incorrectly on purpose. Display name is going to input automatically as the same. We're going to scroll down and enter the address, 123 Dry Cleaning Way. And if you scroll down to the additional info section, here we have payment terms, and we want to set this to net 30. And underneath that, the default expense account, we're going to set to dry cleaning services. And we're going to hit save from here. And this brings us to the Quick Clean Dry Cleaners profile page. And the information on page 9-6, they have table 1. We're going to be entering 2 additional vendors. So we can hit our back button to bring us back to our vendor center. And up in the top right hand corner, we're going to select New Vendor. The company name for this one, Stellar Cleaning Services. Display name is going to be the same. The address we can scroll down to. That's going to be 456 Stellar Way. And that is Beverly Hills, California. (90210). And the payment terms, again, scroll down to the additional info section. Terms are going to be net 15. And the default expense account, housekeeping services. And click Save. Brings us back to our vendor profile page, and we can hit our back button to return to our vendor center. And then we're going to add a third one. Company name is Pool Guy Inc. Scroll down to address, and that is 789 Rainbow Drive. Again, Beverly Hills, California. 90210. Scroll down to payment terms, which is going to be net 30. And then the default expense category is going to be pool services. And click Save. Brings us back to our Pool Guy profile page. We're going to hit our back button to return to our vendor center. Now, the book has 4 vendors. They have Claire Danes in there, and it says that she was entered in the Managing Users chapter. I don't recall adding her, except when we added her as a user for giving access to the company file. So I'll have to go back and check that because I do not recall adding a vendor in that chapter, but I could be mistaken. All right, so they have 4 vendors: Claire Danes Pool Guy, Quick Clean, and Stellar Cleaning Services. Right now, we have the 3 we just added. We can make changes to vendor information at any time. If we click on Pool Guy, brings us to our profile, and up in the top right hand corner, we have our edit button, and it just opens that screen back up so you can make any changes that you need to. All right, just hit save to exit out of there. It's just to show you that you can go back in and update if needed. All right, expenses versus bills. Money going out of a business to pay for day-to-day operations, such as rent, utilities, and office supplies, are considered to be expenses. In QuickBooks, any payment entered after the fact will be recorded as an expense. If your vendor supplier extends credit to you, payment is not due right away. These type of expenses will be recorded in QuickBooks as bills. Bills are recorded in QuickBooks along with the due date. When you get close to a due date, QuickBooks will notify you that a bill is coming due. The balance of all unpaid bills is called accounts payable. Accounts payable, or AP, is the money that you owe to creditors, vendors, and suppliers. So we will see how to record expenses next. Recording non-recurring and recurring expenses. As mentioned, some examples of expenses are rent, utilities, and office supplies. Expenses can be categorized as recurring and non-recurring. Recurring expenses are those that require payment on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. For example, rent and utilities are recurring expenses that take place monthly. Larry has a pool service that he pays on a monthly basis for repairs and maintenance for the pools located at his properties. We will show you how to set up this recurring expense next. So let me hit my vendors button to return to my vendor center. And for Pool Guy, we're going to go over next to Create a Bill to the drop-down arrow, and we're going to select Create Expense. And this opens up our Create Expense window. So here the payee is going to automatically fill with the Pool Guy. The payment account we want to set to business checking account. The payment date, now they are signifying the payment date here, so we will enter it as they have it. So let's do, because sometimes as we go further, it is going to make a difference with their directions. 7/15/2021. Reference number June 2021. Property is going to be Texas properties. The category is pool services. This field should have automatically populated based on our expense account. And the description we're going to enter is repairs and maintenance. For Austin, Houston, and Dallas. And that's June 2021. Don't mind my typing. I'm doing it with one finger because I'm holding the book in my other hand. Okay, and then our amount is going to be $450. So we're not going to save it here. We are going to keep the invoice open on our screen for our next activity. This is only going to be used to create the recurring expense template. After creating the template, then we will record the expense. So as previously mentioned, pool services is a recurring expense that Larry pays on a monthly basis for both the Texas and the California properties. To save time, we will create a recurring expense template so this expense can be recorded quickly each month. So we're going to click the Make Recurring option as shown at the bottom of the image in step 4. So that's all the way at the bottom of our screen right here. We have a link, Make Recurring. The template name is going to be Pool Guy Inc., which is automatically input for us. The type, we have 3 types. We have scheduled, reminder, and unscheduled. Scheduled will automatically record the expense for you on the date you indicate. Reminder will remind you that the expense needs to be recorded on the date you indicate. Unscheduled means you can manually record the expense when you are ready. We're going to select Reminder. And then in the Remind field, we're going to select the number of days you would like to be reminded to record our expense. We're going to put this as a 5. The payee is Pool Guy Inc. The account is our business checking account. The interval, the options are daily, weekly, monthly, and annually. We're going to select monthly on the 15th day of every 1 month. And our start date, we're going to put this in the future. So August 15th, 2026 is the future for me right now, so I can use that. If you're watching this and it is past that date, then just pick a date more further in the future for yourself. August 15th, 2026. Notice the year for the start date is 2026. It is important to use this date because you cannot create a recurring transaction template using a date that is in the past. Most likely by the time you complete this exercise, it will be after August 15th, 2021. This will not impact any reports because when you actually record the expense, you will use a date with the year 2021. All right, the end date is going to be none. The property is going to be set to Texas properties. Category is pool services. Description, repairs and maintenance for Austin, Houston, and Dallas House, June 2021. And the amount is going to be $450. We're going to select Save Template. And this brings us back to our vendor center. Now, if we wanted to see a list of recurring expense templates, we can go to our gear icon, and under the list heading, select recurring transactions. So you can see we have a Pool Guy, Inc., recurring transaction, reminder every month. And it's going to start on August 15th, 2026, and the amount is $450. If we click on our edit link, it will bring up that recurring expense template again. On page 913, an explanation of the action you can take for recurring transaction templates. You can record this template anytime you choose by selecting the Use option. The template will display so that you can make any changes necessary, and then you can record it on your books. Duplicate. If you need to create a template similar to an existing recurring transaction, use the Duplicate option. The template will display on your screen so that you can make the necessary changes to create a new template. Pause. If you want to skip recording an expense, you can do that by selecting the Pause option. The recurring expense will not be scheduled again until you decide to use it again. Skip next date. If you would like to skip the next date the expense is scheduled to record, you can do so by selecting the Skip Next Date option. Sorry, these are all back in your recurring transactions list in its drop-down arrow next to Edit. And then we have Delete. We can delete a recurring expense anytime by clicking on Delete. So next we're going to be using the recurring pool guide template to record the pool expense for the month of August for the Texas properties. We're going to click on the Use button, and this displays the expense template for Pool Guy. We're going to complete the payment date, payment method, and the reference number and description field. So payment date is going to be August 15th, 2021. Payment method is going to be check. Reference number 12345. Description, repairs and maintenance for Austin, Houston, and Dallas. We're going to change this to August 2021. And then we're going to hit Save and Close. So when this expense is recorded in QuickBooks, it makes a journal entry behind the scenes. So the pool expenses account is recorded with a $450 debit, and then our business checking account is decreased with a $450 credit. All right, next we're going to record bills in QuickBooks. As mentioned, bills are created for those vendors and suppliers that extend credit to you. In other words, you can make purchases from certain vendors on credit. They will send you a bill later, and payment should be made before the due date. Stellar Cleaning Services provides housekeeping services for all of Larry's properties. We will show you how to record this bill next. So we want to go back to our vendor section or vendor center. And next to Stellar Cleaning Services, from that drop down, we're going to choose, oh, sorry, not from the drop down. We're going to hit the link for Create Bill. So our Create Bill window opens up for us. The bill date is going to be July 1st, 2021. Bill number 98765. Texas Properties. The description is housekeeping services. July 2021. The amount is going to be $1,000. Oops. And then we're going to hit the arrow and we're going to hit Save and New. This will give us another blank bill window. Our vendor is going to be Stellar Cleaning Services. Bill date, July 1st, 2021. Bill number 98766. California Properties. Housekeeping services for July 2021. And then the amount for this one is going to be $2,100. Hit our drop down arrow and save and close. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that it did list the unpaid. Again, with these dates that we have so far in the past, it doesn't automatically show up for us. So that's why I don't like using those old dates because it just doesn't show right away. So we do have the 2 unpaid bills from Stellar Cleaning Services shown here. And that's a total of $3,100. All right, our next section is going to be paying bills in QuickBooks. After entering bills into QuickBooks, you will need to pay them prior to their due date to maintain good credit history with your vendors and suppliers. We will show you how to pay bills in this section. We're going to go up to our Create button. And under our Vendors heading, we're going to select Pay Bills. Again, we have to change the dates. So from that drop down, click All Dates and Apply, and we will see those two overdue Stellar Cleaning Services bills. We're going to select the box next to our Payee heading, and that will check off both of our bills that are due for $3,100 total. And we want to pay this, so be careful here because the book doesn't specify this, but I can see it in the picture. The payment method automatically updated to cash for me, so make sure you're updating that to business checking account. All right. And then we can hit our Save and Close button. Tells us 2 bills have been paid. And the journal entry that's made behind the scenes, accounts payable, is decreased with a $3,100 debit, and our business checking account is decreased with a $3,100 credit. Our next section is recording bills. We're going to create a bill for Stellar Cleaning Services to record housekeeping services for the month of August for the Texas properties. Use 8/1/2021 as the bill date, 98767 for the bill number, and $1,000 for the amount. All right, so we're going to go up to our Create. Under Vendors, we're going to select Bill. Our vendor is Stellar Cleaning Services. Housekeeping services for August 2021. The bill date is going to be August 1st of 2021. The bill number 98767. Whoops. 98767. And the amount is going to be $1,000. Number 2, we're going to be creating another bill, so we can go to our drop down and hit Save and New. The vendor again is Stellar Cleaning. And housekeeping services for the month of August 2021, but this is going to be for our California properties. Oops, bill date August 1st, 2021. 98768 is the bill number. $2,100 for the amount. Just double check that everything is correct. And from here, I can save and close. Again, the only thing that's bad about using these dates so far in the past, it's hard to find an overview that will actually show you your open expenses that far back. Because it used to be shown on your regular dashboard, but now we don't have that dashboard anymore. See, this isn't even showing recently. All right, we'll have to keep going and then just make sure that the reports that we're about to run are aligning how they should. All right, so our next section is going to be vendor and expense reports. Similar to customers and sales, there are a number of report templates in QuickBooks that you can run in just a few minutes to stay on top of your vendors, expenses, and bills. The report center includes a report group called What You Owe. This report group includes reports like the accounts payable aging summary report and an unpaid bills report. These reports help you stay on top of what you owe to vendors, suppliers, and other creditors. The expenses and vendors report group allows you to keep track of the expenses recorded by vendor, as well as the details of the expenses and bills recorded. In this section, we will cover the following reports: accounts payable aging summary, bill payment list, unpaid bills, expenses by vendor summary, and transaction list by vendor. We will start with the accounts payable aging summary report. So the accounts payable aging summary report is similar to the accounts receivable aging summary report. It summarizes the open bills by the number of days they are past due: 1 to 30, 31 to 60, 61 to 90, and 91 and over. This report will help you stay on top of the cash required to meet your current obligations. We're going to open up our report center and we're going to scroll down and give it a minute to load. If it seems to take too long, again, you can just hit your home and go back to reports. We're going to scroll down to the What You Owe section. And here we want Accounts Payable Aging Summary. From our report date, we're going to choose All Dates. And you can see that the Stellar Cleaning Services 91 and over past due for $3,100. All right, so we are correct there. Next, the unpaid bills report. This report provides a breakdown of all bills that have not been paid. It includes the bill date, transaction type, bill number, property, due date, number of days past due, amount, and an open balance column. We're going to go back to our reports center and our Who You Owe section, and we're going to select unpaid bills. As you can see, there are 2 bills that remain unpaid, both from Stellar Cleaning Services. And you can see they're past due 1,657 days, which is a long time. And the grand total on this report should read $3,100. Our next report is Expenses by Vendor Summary Report. This report provides you with the amount you have paid to a vendor for a specific period of time. This type of report allows you to see who you are spending your money with, which can assist you when negotiating better pricing with your vendors. We're going to go to our Report Center, and we're going to scroll down to the Expenses and Vendor section. And from here, we want Expenses by Vendor Summary. You can see nothing is shown for us. Your selection doesn't have any info. Let's update this to all dates. And now you can see we have Pool Guy $450 and Stellar Cleaning Services for $6,200. So your total should read here $6,650. Next is the transaction list by vendor. This report provides a detailed recap of all transactions posted by vendor. This includes all bills, bill payments, and expenses. We're going to go to our report center and scroll down to the vendors, the expenses and vendors section, and we want transaction list by vendor. Make sure you switch this to all dates, just in case. And in the report, there are 2 vendors listed. We have Pool Guy and Stellar Cleaning Services. So Pool Guy has 1, and Stellar Cleaning Services has 5. So an expense in the amount of $450 has been recorded for Pool Guy. Various bills and 1 bill payment has been posted for Stellar Cleaning Services. And you should have a total amount $2,650. All right, this concludes Chapter 9. Your next video will be the practice exercises on page 9-29.